This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio, and I'm sorry, that was kind of a gradually sad intro because I had the volume way down, so there you are. It is close to getting to Labor Day, and one thing I love about Labor Day is a lot of people have already started school, so it's almost like this little pause before the school year really gets just bananas, and football season and hockey's coming up and basketball and all sorts of stuff, and the playoffs are happening for baseball, and of course anybody who doesn't like any of that, there's plenty of things to do versus Comic-Cons or hanging out with peeps or reading, which of course, you know, I'm a huge advocate of. And before I say something about our author today, I just want to let everybody know, pull up a banned book list and pick a book off that list and read it, because there's a reason they're banned, and it's usually because the people who are banning them aren't interested in learning anything new, or something in those books they just want to talk about. So open your brain a little bit, read a banned book, and start talking to someone who's also read the book and see what you learn. Anyway, there's my PSA for today. But we're going to get back to something super fun, and if you need a very good laugh, especially this weekend or Labor Day weekend or whatever, I have a book by Tracy Goodwin you need to read. So Tracy has been on the show before. She is a USA best-selling author of uplifting women's fictions, captivating contemporary romances, and romantic comedy. She also does some really, really sexy, fun sports romances with hockey players, by the way. In addition, she pens sweeping historical romances and vivid urban fantasies. Though genders might be different, each story delivers a unique blend of passion, poignant emotion, humor, and unforgettable characters that steal the reader's hearts. A New Yorker who now calls Houston home, Tracy is the mom of two, a wife, and the wrangler of two cats and a puppy who tries hard to talk to the felines with little success. There's always tomorrow. She's a Marvel super fan and loves singing carpool karaoke even when alone. See, this is why she and I are peeps. So just all of that, except the New Yorker thing. I was born in Texas. Okay, to receive the latest copy and news and information about upcoming releases, please sign up for Tracy's newsletter or join her Facebook group where you can chat with her. There's also her Amazon page, her BookBub page, all her social media for Twitter and Instagram. All of those are links in the write-up of the show. But her latest book is a rom-com that includes a handsome half-dressed Easter bunny, a vicious HOA, and an unruly garden gnomes. And the title is Neighbors Like This, and it is out now. So welcome to the show, Tracy. How are you, my dear?
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's I laugh because I always do these intros, and I mean every word of it, but it's fun because it's like we've talked like yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
It almost sounds like, you know, I haven't talked to you forever, but I actually talked to you yesterday.
I know.
So, yeah.
I know. And boy, that intro, like, it took up so much time. I think we're out of time now.
Yes. And there you are. Ta-da.
Just kidding.
So one of the things that I always love about when you're bringing a new story out is you've got these different worlds that you've got, you know, contemporary, you've got women's fiction, you've got urban fantasies,
yes.
You've got historicals, you've got sports, now, you know, single parents now, or in addition to. So how do you put your brain in that world? Because each world is its own thing. So how do you compartmentalize those worlds?
You know, I think it's all just part of being an author. With this one, it was easy for me to compartmentalize because I got this idea after, you know, my husband is actually our HOA president. He does not dress up like the Easter Bunny, but he is our HOA president, as has been for many years. So I've seen a lot. And we do host the Easter Bunny, and he hosts the Easter egg hunt and everything. And then one day, driving my kids back and forth to school and carpooling them and in the carpool lane, and I picked up my kids, and they were just saying the funniest things. And I started thinking, this is a story right here. What they're saying is a story, and of course the names have been changed to protect the innocent. But so then this idea dawned on me from school to home about, we could start with the Easter Bunny and the hero being the Easter Bunny, and the mom and her kids, recently divorced, moving to a new subdivision, going into the pool house where they're hosting the pictures with the Easter Bunny and going into the wrong room thinking it's the men's room for her son, and suddenly they see this half, clad Easter Bunny that's pop off, and her son screaming, the Easter Bunny's not real. And that was a great meet cute to start with, and her telling him, of course he's real, this is his helper. So it was just one of those things. And then for her to then learn about the letter from the HOA having her remove a gnome that her kids made for her, and that was their one request when they were moving, that they have the gnome in front of their house. And then to decide to fight the management company, which of course leads to her fighting the HOA president, who is a really nice guy. And, it's her journey coming to terms with letting someone else into their lives who is just the opposite of her ex-husband. And, and also, the battles we face, and as parents, we want to protect our kids as much as possible. There are a lot of Avengers references, a lot of jokes. It's just a very fun book. And my editor actually decided that she wanted to me to rewrite it into women's fiction / rom-com. And so I'm very grateful for the challenge because I love how it turned out. But it's definitely, Amelia's story with her kids, and it allowed me to dive very deep into that, and the friendships, because there were always the friendship. That was what this book initially was about. It's still about. It's about her really good friends that support her through everything, the ups, the downs. They've been there for each other, and it's found family. It's the friends that are found family. It's the pets that you come across that are strays that end up being part of your family as well. And then we have some amphibians in there too. So it's a really fun story to write about. And it's a story of my heart because so much of it actually took place with my kids and with our family. So it's definitely, a story that I hold very dear.
Well, and I love all that. The one thing that I think that is really important to note is, she's a single mom. She's starting over. She's set boundaries for herself because what she was in before wasn't working, and on many levels. And now she's moved from one battle to another one. And I think that a lot of women are never taught how to set their boundaries, whether it's with friends or neighbors or spouses or significant others or work or anybody. And it's this journey of her learning how to fight those different battles, those different ways. And
that's right.
It's something that a lot of women just don't learn, and they're not taught. So it's a frustrating process to learn it, but once you've learned it, you feel all that much more, empowered would be the word.
That's right.
So it's fun to see that
right.
empowering journey for her,
Yes, it definitely is. And you see her getting stronger throughout and deciding, what's super important. And she always put her kids first. But, with certain circumstances, she really starts voicing herself. And it's really fun to see. She was always, very spitfirey from the beginning and, trying to put that positive front on for everyone, even though inside she was, she was questioning herself, and she was able to voice that with her friends. But it was really fun to be able to explore that, where she starts asserting herself with others,
Yeah.
like with Carla from the management company or the principal of her child's school, so that was a lot of fun to be able to go through that journey with her.
It's interesting. I had a friend years ago who I was having to go in and talk to the principal about something that happened with my kids. And she was telling me, she's like, okay, so, and I was really frustrated with the situation. And she said, okay, so before you go in, and it was like, it's like she was coaching me. She's like, okay, don't cry. Like, don't cry at all. Stay like super even, and they won't know what to do. And I just said, okay. Yeah. And I thought, well, that seems strange advice, but that's what I did, and it really did make a difference, which kind of frustrates me, because it's like when you go in and advocate for your children, it is emotional. So, why would that be conceived as weakness, or they're just being emotional? It doesn't make the words any less powerful or important. So
that's right.
I really love seeing this and seeing how she finds her footing again. And finds how to challenge it. So it's cool. It's a cool story to watch go through, and all the crazy stuff that happens. So we have a gnome. I'll post a picture, but my husband got it years ago, because this is very, very warped. But years ago, my dad and his brother decided that they were going to invent this Christmas elf that was. He apparently watched over us all year and reported to Santa, right? So when we were little kids, Nectar Freely was his name. Who knows where this name came from? I'm sure it was over several beers. But it's so he would call randomly when we were not acting right, like we were being really awful. And for a long time, I was pretty sure it was my uncle. But I mean, you don't want to blow it, right? I mean,
right.
If it's not, you're really screwed yourself over for Santa. So told her significant others or spouses about Nectar Freely. Well, my husband decided to buy this lawn gnome and put it in the vent. So when the kids would walk by at just the right angle, you could see him in there.
Yes.
So when Nectar Freely was retired, the kids wanted to paint him. So now he's in the yard dressed in all his prideness. So it's fun. It's
so funny.
It's fun.
I know.
It's warped and weird and fun. So the gnomes they're their own thing. So
it's definitely funny. We did not have a gnome until this book, and then my husband bought one for our backyard, and it has flowers and LED lights, so it's solar and it lights up at night, and it's super cute. So so that's one of our garden objects. And then along the fence we have sunflowers and other flowers, and bumblebees here and ladybugs there, and it's really cute. The kids love it, but now they see a gnome and they're like, "Mom, it's a gnome!" Especially since I've been giving them out as free gifts with purchase for every signing. So gnomes are really popular, definitely. I remember when we first, yes, and I remember when we first built our house. It was when the subdivision had just started building, really. I think we built a year into it. So there were we were maybe the fifth house on our block, and I think there was, if I remember correctly, a retired CIA agent, a retired Secret Service agent, a police captain, and a constable all on our block. So we were the fifth. And it was pretty funny, so we're all kind of spread out on this cul-de-sac. And the constable put gnomes in his yard, and instead of mulch, he had white rocks. And, it looked cute. There were just a couple of gnomes. It looked really cute. And at that point, the HOA was developer operated, and there was a different management company. This was like 3 management companies ago. And my husband was not on the board yet. And I remember the constable getting letters. So he decided to add gnomes instead of take them away. So it ended up where he had to have like 10 or 15 gnomes on his front yard. He just kept adding. Every letter he got, he just kept adding. And it was the funniest thing. And after, I wrote this book thinking it was either going to be a flamingo or a gnome. And I'm like, they'd color a gnome, and one of the jokes is that he has kind of a happy vibe to him. So, from Snow White. So I thought of that afterwards going, oh, yeah, I remember that because my husband was having that conversation with me and I remembered it. That was pretty funny. So, every HOA, if someone's not in an HOA, that's wonderful. But, you have to go by the bylaws.
I think there's pluses and minuses. Yeah, I think there's pluses and minuses because my parents lived outside of New Braunfels, and there wasn't an HOA. They let it expire, and very big lots and all that. But people were just doing all sorts of stuff. Like they just leave their junky cars in the front. They wouldn't take care of stuff, and there was there was nothing you could do. And it's not that everyone has to have the same set of flowers in the front, but I mean there is a balance somewhere.
And see, with ours there is. Yes.
I'm laughing about your gnome story because there was a nursery in Austin. It was near Westover Hills out Bee Caves Road, and it was if you know that area at all at the time, now it's like super like hoity-toity, but at the time it was a lot of wealth in that area, as much or more than it is now. And it kind of was the entry into this area. And they put out like 4 plastic paint flamingos one year, just, some decoration in front. So people knew where they were.
That's right.
Well, this woman called and she complained about the plastic flamingos and said they were trashy and, not in our neighborhood type mentality. So she drove by the next time and then she called again. And the next time there's like 50. So every year now, they've sold it. It's been 20 years ago this happened, but they would actually it was like they were returning from, the going south for the winter or north or whatever. And there would be guys out there with pith helmets and sitting in chairs with binoculars waiting for the plastic flamingos to arrive every year. And they would have like 500 out there at a time. And they would slowly stay. They would stay. And then, after a while, they would start moving wherever they migrate, wherever. But she took them to court. And the judge was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, really?" Yeah. And he threw it out and told her she had to pay everything. So, but it's like you have nothing else to do. Complain about that.
I know. There are other things, but you know what? It's part of the bylaws, and until they revise the bylaws. So
sure.
It's one of those things where I believe at some point our subdivision will be revising the bylaws, but we still have houses being built. So it's been a long process.
Sure. So
with 2 recessions thrown in.
All that, being involved with all that, what has been the most outrageous complaints to the HOA about what's happening in the neighborhood? Like, there's legit stuff, but outrageously, really.
Honestly, there are so many. Where we live, our bylaws state no fireworks, but yet the county we live in allows fireworks. So, there have been fights between neighbors where some neighbors have shot off fireworks in the direction of cars from the neighbor who's complaining and trying to call the police on them and yelling no fireworks. And yes, we've had that. We've had quite a few over the years.
Sure.
It's just, it's hard to please everyone, and unfortunately the closing documents, you have to sign off on those bylaws and state that you're going to follow them. I remember getting a letter years ago about weeds, and it was a very rainy summer, unlike this one so far, very rainy. And I'd say we were here 2 or 3 years at the time. So our trees, we did a lot of landscaping, and everything was still growing. But one of the sides of our house had this dip where you couldn't mow it because it was all water. I mean, it was flooding in Houston and everything else. So we got a letter about 3 daffodils that grew up in that one area that we couldn't get the lawnmower through. So they called them weeds, and we had to get rid of them immediately. So I had to go out with scissors and literally cut them right before the backyard fence. I know. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, well, it's been raining for weeks, but okay. Sure. Okay, I'll walk in the mud, and I'll get those flowers, and I'll, get them with scissors. Okay, great.
Wow.
But yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty funny sometimes. And it was funny to write about,
Sure. I sometimes think that the world can be so overbearing and overwhelming sometimes that the tiny little non-significant things people tend to obsess over, because it seems like those can be resolved. Like, I'm going to obsess over the fact that, my neighbor stays up until 10:05 and they're, outside playing their music, instead of just, it just is a distraction technique, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of Gladys Kravitz in the world that go around and look for things to be upset over. But it's amazing to me what people will be upset over and what they won't even bother to look up. Like,
which is why I write.
Ask.
Yeah, which is why I write rom-com and add a lot of comedy to my books, because that's what it's about for me. Yes, there is emotion. There's a lot of emotion. You'll laugh, you'll cry, but it's important for me to have that humor, because in our world we have to laugh. We definitely have to laugh.
For sure. So you're originally from New York. What part of New York are you from?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn and raised on the eastern end of Long Island, so it's considered the Hamptons. And I went to West Hampton High School and everything, and my husband went to Southampton. He was in Southampton. So we met after college for summer jobs, and that's where we met. And we got engaged. We got married in New York, and we actually moved here in 2002. So it's been a while. Yes, it was. We moved a year after 9/11, and my husband worked in Manhattan at the time, and he actually saw the second tower go down, and and that really we were planning on moving, but it ended up quickening our timeline. There were a lot of feelings there, and my husband knew people who had perished, and it was very difficult afterwards. Some of us couldn't volunteer, but we were scheduling trucks to go into Manhattan with things for the people that were working to save others, and then when that wasn't a possibility, to recover items. And we were sending dog food and other things for the canines that were working at the 9/11 site. So so that really prioritized things for us. And my husband worked in construction, and a lot of it was school construction. And at that point, it was the metal detectors everywhere. And we just knew that we didn't want to raise our children in that danger. And, unfortunately now life has shown us that no place is really safe. But at the time we moved to Texas, and that's where we had our kids, and, brought our cats down here, and now we have a dog and 2 cats, and she tries so hard to talk to the to the boys, as I call them, our cats. And they looked at her like she is just insane. Like, what language is this thing speaking? And we had thought that we were adopting a very small dog from the shelter, and it ended up being a 33-pound, tall as can be dog, you know.
Oh, wow.
So she is just, she's much taller than the cats. We thought she was going to be their size when grown, so they wouldn't be so afraid of her. But they just, one of them is coming around. The other is just all hissing, and, you know, we've had her for over a year now, and he still hisses and growls at her, and she thinks it's fun. She thinks they're playing, so she'll chase him. You know? That's good girl. Good girl. You go for it.
Just that attitude. That's right. Don't let him do that.
That's it.
How often have you been back to New York since then? Since you've moved here?
Once or twice. So, yeah, we don't have any family in New York anymore, so we haven't been back very often. But but there are certain things we miss, you know, certain foods we miss. It was really nice to be so close to Manhattan and be able to go to, like, the Metropolitan Museum of Art and that sort of thing. So there are definitely things we miss, including delis. And, you know, there are some things that we're able to have here thanks to the New Yorkers that also moved, you know, that own the pizza place. And, you know, we have New Yorkers owning a bagel place. So there are things that we don't miss as much, which is wonderful. But, you know, we've been here 20-something years at this point. So it's home. New York will always be home, but this is home too. Texas is home for us. So we're fortunate in that we have two homes. And both of our children were born here. And, you know, they're happy to be Texans. So.
Yeah, when we went up there in June, I had everything planned. And I purposely planned, like, one day doing this, you know, instead of like, okay, in the morning we're doing this, in the afternoon. Because I was looking at my app and I was saying, oh, it's only a 7-minute walk, right, from here to here. Like, okay, great. So we left our hotel. We were down by Bryant Park, and my app said 20-minute walk to the Natural History Museum. And I was like, oh, piece of cake. And so we're walking, and we're walking, and we're walking, and now we've been 20 minutes, and I'm like, I don't understand. We're not even in Central Park yet. What's going on? And I look at my app, and I had left it on drive instead of walking, and so it was an hour to walk. So yes, that was a very long day. I got all my steps in, and it was amazing. And we took the subway back, but I can see why people do want to live there because of everything being really close, and you can walk everywhere. I can also see why people don't want to live there because everything's very close, and you probably don't feel like you have as much freedom if you can't just get up and drive. So I see both. You know, I can see it being a really great city for someone who's has either super little kids or no kids yet, or has the income to, you know, send them to the schools you want, wherever that is, because there's so much there. And I mean, we saw a ton, and I know we just barely scratched the surface of seeing stuff. So it's definitely a multiple visit type city.
Definitely. And you can spend days in like the Metropolitan Museum of Art. You really can. Yeah. It's amazing. From the Impressionist paintings, which I love, to like the Greek, exhibit where it's like a mini Parthenon, and, you know, it's beautiful. And then you have all the Egyptian. I love it there.
I understand that there is a rooftop cafe or whatever you want to call it, but it's you can go up to the top of the Met, and you can see all of Central Park there. Like, stand up there and the whole view is right there of it.
Isn't that amazing? Central Park is beautiful.
Yeah. So, and we didn't get to it, which is bumming me out. And then I was able to say, would we watch Ocean's 8 the next time? I'm like, oh, remember the Met? I pointed it out. Yeah, that's where this is, and that's where it, you know, supposed to be.
Right.
And so it was just a lot of stuff. And now we can say, and we've been there, and we've been there, and we saw that. And it's one of those things that travel does. for kids? Is it like, oh yeah, we did, and I saw this when I was there. So that's
right.
lighter lens that it brings. Yeah. And so, but you set your ice hockey series in New York. What made you set it in New York versus, say, Houston or Dallas or somewhere in Texas?
Well, New York is home, so you write what you know.
Yeah.
And, for instance, With Neighbors Like This was written in a northern suburb of Houston. So, you write what you know. But for me, it was a really neat way of incorporating. They're set on Long Island, which I consider Nassau County. So, so they are able to commute into Manhattan. So for me, it was a chance to have the characters also commute into the city, which, Manhattan can be very romantic. So it gave me a lot of possibilities there. And it was nice to write about New York. I had done 5 books at that point in Regency, England. Then I did one paranormal, Cursed, which ended up going into New York, into Brooklyn. So I'm like, it would be nice if I set these as New York Nighthawks. And it took me a while to think of the name, but I was able to come up with a great logo with the help of my designer, and it turned out to be a 3-book series with Love Swept, which I am forever grateful for. The 3rd will be coming out this year, and they're available in ebook and also an audio book. And the narrator, Tor Tom, is wonderful. And, it was just fun to write. And unfortunately, Love Swept did pause. So, some consider it shuttered, others consider it on pause. It would be lovely to see it back again. But so I'm going to be the last book printed, or ebook printed, through Love Swept for Penguin Random House. So it's very bittersweet. Wow. I loved that series. And, unfortunately, right before the first one came out is when I got the news that Love Swept was shuttering, if not pausing. So my second book was still released. I was still under contract. And then afterwards I was contracted for the 3rd book. So it's just been a lovely ride with them. I really enjoyed working with Gina Wachtel, who is the publisher. And she's just been wonderful to work with. I was very blessed and consider myself to this day just blessed to work with her on these books. And I've learned so much from her and admire her a great deal. So that's been wonderful. And New York just seemed like the place for it. You've got these larger than life sports stars, hockey guys, and you've got the city that never sleeps. And the funny thing is that most of them would really rather not be in the city that never sleeps.
Right.
They're relatable guys who, the first one has a shelter dog. The second one is looking for love after his best friend found it. And the third is considered Thor on the ice. That is his alter ego. And, he's the guy with the biggest stick and biggest bravado. And you find out exactly why. That, he was bullied as a child. So he bulked up and he ended up being this hockey god, quote unquote, And it's about them finding love in the most unlikely of places. So it was a very fun series to write. And this is quite different. And then going from that world to this world and back again to that world for copy edits right now, it's been an adventure for me too. So
because you've got to put your brain in different. It's like, okay, wait a minute, let me see. It's literally like being in a different country. Like, okay, wait, now I'm in Germany, but yesterday I was in France. Last week I was in Nigeria. It's like, what the hell's going on? But you've got that. You mentioned your paranormal curse. You also have a coloring book that goes along with that.
Yes, I
so that's
did.
On your website.
Yes, that is, and it's also available through Amazon. And and other retailers. But yes, that was supposed to be a 3-book series when I was offered Nighthawks with Penguin Random House.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to go back to that because I still have 2 books in that series that I would love to write.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's not like you don't have anything else going on, Tracy.
Right, exactly. But hey, you know.
Yeah, it fills the days, right?
A girl can dream.
So, yeah. But then you also are part of this KISS app with Read and Write Romance. What is this about?
Well, it's basically an app that someone can use on their phone and read chapters of books. Whole book is on there,
okay.
and you use coins. You basically purchase coins, and you're able to read chapter per chapter per chapter. So it's kind of like a chapters app. It's similar to something else that just came out with Amazon. So it's an app that allows you to read the books if you choose to go that route. And then you flip around from book to book. So, yeah, it's something interesting that I never thought I'd be a part of. When I first started out in 2007, it wasn't even a thing at that point. So it's very cool. It's very cool to see my books on there.
Wow. And these are original books that are these books that you have released before?
These are books that I have published. So they're still on the market. They're my 5 historicals, and it's 1 paranormal. So it's not the Nighthawk series, and it's not with Neighbors Like This, but the rest of my backlist.
Nice. So now you've got this out. The Nighthawk series is coming out when?
Right now it's Ice Storm is coming out November 22nd. So it could change. That's right. It could change depending on Audible and when it will be released with the narration. But as of right now, it's November 22nd. So you might get the ebook first and then get Audible later, which would be fine as well. So I will keep you posted on that. But yes. So the story of Thor, and that was fun to write. It was fun, and it was bittersweet because I knew it would be the last one with them. Although, I do have that luxury of self-publishing if I wish to continue the series. So I have a lot of fans who, some of whom I met at Book Lovers Con last weekend, and they were in love with the series. So that kind of gives me pause to go, maybe I should self-publish the next one in this. Because I already have the character in mind. So we'll see.
Well, and if you, too, want to stay in the know about what Tracy's doing, you can sign up for her mailing list, and she will send you her newsletter, and you can find out all that stuff, too. So I have the link for that right at the show. So you can do that. I had a question for you, and, of course, it's completely slipped my brain. What's coming up after this? So what's coming up after this? Yeah.
Well, we do have Ice Storm, and then with Source Books, there are things in the works. Can't quite say anything yet. There are also some other things in the works as well. So there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I just can't say anything about it yet.
Okay, fair enough.
So stay tuned, and if you don't want to sign up for another newsletter, you could always follow me on BookBub as well, and that will announce any pre-orders. So,
that's right.
I always give people that option because sometimes people have just had it with newsletters, and there is another option. It's called BookBub, and just sign up and follow me there, and they will keep you in the know as well.
So you could do that instead of a newsletter if you wanted to.
Correct. Or you could do both.
Yeah, because you're going to reach different people with different ones. Yeah,
absolutely.
Divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sign up for a newsletter, and you might win a gnome. Who knows?
Just so you know, everybody, I am very spoiled. I actually have a gnome sitting on my desk right now. It's cute and pink, and I love her. So
they are adorable. I know. They come in green and light blue, and it's a light green, light blue, and pink, and they are so cute.
Yes,
they've been huge.
So fun. I love it. It's funny because I remember when I was, I think it was about 5th or 6th grade, and gnomes were like this huge deal. But my grandmother loved them, and I was kind of like, really? I mean, but they came out with books and kitchen themed stuff with gnomes. But she had lived in Europe for like 10 years, and they had just come back, and gnomes were like everywhere in Europe. So she was just thrilled that they were having gnomes here, and she just loved them. Like, there was just all sorts of stuff with gnomes. Like, it was crazy. Of course, now you have gnomes wearing thongs and all sorts of sports teams, but I don't know if that's what my grandmother
mine
did.
don't do that.
She might have. Yeah, no. No, my little gnome does look like she grows a pretty cool beard here. She's got like a really fluffy white beard. So that she's very cute. I have to name her. Maybe I'll ask someone what we should name her. We'll ask online.
There you go. Do a poll.
Yeah. Yes.
I love it.
Delightful. So what have you not written yet that you want to, without telling us that it might be in the works? Is that a trick question?
It is in a way, because, I find that with me, what I write, I need to be very excited about and very passionate about. And for me, it needs to be relatable. My heroes need to be relatable. My heroines need to be relatable. And there has to be that aspect of fantasy about it as well. So, to me, it's all about what drives me at the time and what I feel passionate about at the time, the stories that pull me in. So that's a very difficult question. I do have some books in the works that are fantasy related and that I have not put together yet, that I've written chapters for, I've written proposals for, but I haven't gone for that yet. And who knows, maybe someday I will, because they are very steamy, and they are definitely something I'm proud of. So we will see and go from there. But maybe. But for right now, the contemporaries are definitely calling to me. And also what's calling to me are historicals, which I've always had a love for historicals. So we shall see.
Yes.
But
so
I find that I don't stop myself. Oh, yes.
Right. With you being a Marvel fan, have you watched She-Hulk yet?
Yes, I watched the first episode this week, actually.
Yes. It's getting really good reviews. I mean, people are excited. Of course, there's always people who are like, this is stupid, but I mean, whatever. Then don't stay in our world. But it was funny because it was like, I think a year and a half ago when they announced it, there was this whole big complaining on social media. They're like, oh, what are they going to come up with now? It's like, this character's been around since 1979 and was created by Stan Lee. So, and the comment was, tell me you don't read Marvel Comics without telling me you don't read Marvel Comics.
Well,
it's like, you're not important.
It was very cute. I have to say the first episode was cute. And my favorite, if you could see behind me, I've got all Scarlet Witch stuff from WandaVision and from all of her movies. And I also have Loki. So, Loki and Thor, those are some of my favorites. I loved WandaVision. Loved Loki. Can't wait for series 2. I loved Hawkeye as well. It was just, I don't even talk to me about Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange. I love Wanda, and I felt like her motivation in WandaVision, which has since changed, the last end credit scene has changed, was taken away a little bit. So that, without giving away spoilers, really upset me. But hopefully we will see Wanda again. It's getting to be a vast, vast universe. And when you see the next, this is the end of level, whatever it is, 4, then 5, then, now we're going to go into 6. And it's like, okay, this is going to be a long wait. After Loki, I was really hoping to see more Kang, and I guess we will get Kang and Ant-Man, but I was hoping it's definitely separating.
Did you hear the rumor that went out yesterday, I think, that Henry Cavill is going to be in one of the Kang?
I am hoping Henry Cavill joins that universe because it doesn't look like he's going to play Superman anytime soon, and I would love Henry Cavill to have, and not just a one and done. I would love for him to be in them because it appears like they're going to go off in a few different directions. Like there's going to be a multiverse direction, there's going to be a Kang direction, even though he is multiverse, and probably they'll all converge, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I can see why the Scarlet Witch's role came about as it did at the end of Doctor Strange, because she would be the most powerful being to take on Kang at that point. Right. But I'd love to see her show up on Loki or something, and with no memory.
She might.
That would be awesome.
And there's all that's that rumor of, would she remember Peter Parker because Strange said at the end of, and I'm sorry, this is a, spoiler, at the end of No Way Home was, all people on Earth who won't remember Peter Parker. Well, she wasn't here. Like she was, she's a Nexus being, so she's not quite here, but she's not quite there. So we'll see how that plays, because my understanding is there's 2 more Spider-Man movies coming. Yes. And so we'll see how that goes.
Exciting. That's very exciting.
Tom Holland played it so well.
He did. And the last Spider-Man movie was incredible with all 3 of them. And for those of us who are old enough to remember seeing Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man in the theaters, it was like, oh my gosh. So, and then they're talking about possibly an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man for Sony. So we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know. There's an abundance of opportunity there. I just hope they stick with the continuity, and the multiverse does add layers. But that was the one thing that bothered me about Multiverse of Madness. They didn't stick with the continuity, because for Wanda in WandaVision, it was all about her children being safe. And I think we kind of lost that in Multiverse of Madness. It was just she wanted her children at any cost. But in WandaVision, it was that they were safe. They were calling to her, help me, So sorry about the spoiler there. But since we spoiled it, that's my one qualm with Multiverse of Madness. But Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress, and no one else can play Scarlet Witch the way she can, with such vulnerability and everything else. She is just amazing.
She's quite breathtaking, to watch. And, WandaVision, it was very interesting because I don't know if anybody really understood what to expect from it.
It was totally new.
And then we get to it. It was fun to watch in the sense of growing up, seeing a lot of those TV shows that they were pulling from, and I'm like, oh, and there's a nod to this, and there's a nod to that, and I wrote a big article about all the shows that they pulled from, and I love the Bewitched nod because that was like my favorite show growing up, and Elizabeth Montgomery was just like a complete badass in real life too. So it to see that, and then to see it play out, but how and that last episode where it shows her so consumed by grief, it's like, man, that was just powerful stuff.
It was. And even the second to last episode, and even the second to last episode where they went with what happened after the snap and after she came back, and when she found out that where Vision was and what had happened to him, it was just devastating, and how the whole WandaVision came about. And, it wasn't intentional. It was her grief taking over. And then, it was just, that whole show was wonderful, but so was Loki. I mean, Tom Hiddleston, come on, he's incredible. And that first episode
Truly.
of him watching everything that transpired between when he ends up in Loki, at the TVA, which is the first Avengers movie, and the time that, of Endgame, he was able to watch everything that happened to him and to his family. And it was just heartbreaking watching that one scene with his reactions.
Yeah.
So,
I think one
we'll
of the
see.
things that Marvel has done so beautifully, and I've had discussions with this, and it's funny because the people I tend to have discussions with, they're like, no, DC, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they're more like realistic. I'm like, yes, because there's a lot of billionaires driving around in bat costume. But Marvel has done such a stellar job with consistency that they have just smoked DC in a lot of ways, because we know every single time someone says Loki, we know exactly what actor it's going to be. We already know this. And so if they say Thor, we know who's going to be. We know who Heimdall's going to be. We know who Scarlet Witch is going to be. We know who even like Agent Coulson is going to be. They're all going to be the same thing. Maria Hill. We all know it's the same actors. And
with the exception of Multiverse of Madness, because they did have the Illuminati that were played by different people. And if they were to bring Fantastic Four in, if they were to bring X-Men in, it would most likely be different actors. But that's understandable because it's the multiverse. So,
but I would love to see Jonathan Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I really would.
I know. I've heard, though, in addition to the rumor that Henry Cavill will be in the Kang Dynasty, or in the Kang films, there's also the rumor that he could be Mr. Fantastic.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Very.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I'd love him to be a character of his own, to be honest with you, and just, bad or good, Henry Cavill is fantastic. And I'd love for him to be with Elizabeth Olsen, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens.
That would be an interesting pairing. So but I was telling my kids, I said, I cannot imagine back in 2007, 2008, whenever the first Iron Man came out. Them sitting down and plotting out these 22 movies, because the consistent timeline thread was pulled all the way through. And
it was.
I can't imagine having the storyboarding up there, like how big this room is, to be able to storyboard this whole thing. Because I remember reading about Chris Evans saying he was told, okay, if you're going to be Captain America, you have to commit to 12 years.
Right.
I mean, because this is who you're going to be for 12 years, not one movie at a time. So, like we're saying, the consistency's there. We all know, who this character is going to be in this movie. And now he's passed the torch to Sam, which just made sense,
yes, Anthony Mackie's wonderful.
Man, I mean, Sam was a good man. He was a good soldier, but he was a good man. And that's why he's Captain America and not Bucky. And I love Bucky, but he's just he's a tragic character, and he would never have accepted the shield. Anyway.
No, he wouldn't have. He wasn't. He didn't think he was worthy, and he still doesn't. But I still would love to see Bucky in future movies. Definitely. Yeah. But the one thing I found incredibly interesting, and you can't have a conversation about how Marvel started this whole, huge series of films without mentioning Robert Downey Jr., because he changed.
Right.
He flipped the script on it. I mean, the end of Iron Man, the very first movie, when he is eating his cheeseburger, kind of sits down and goes, I am Iron Man. That was all ad-libbed. And he flipped the script on superhero movies where he was supposed to be in hiding. And that ended up being the best thing, that Iron Man came out. He was Iron Man and Tony Stark. Everyone knew it in the second movie and further. So I think that was brilliant. And, Robert Downey Jr. he truly was Iron Man. there's been talk of recasting him in the multiverse, but to me, you just can't because he was that character. He lived and breathed that character, and he knew Iron Man / Tony Stark so well. And there were so many ad-libs that added to the movies that he did, you know. I remember reading an article that he was in the car with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but they weren't in costume. And, you know, at that point, he opens the door and goes, okay, out, you know. Or Tom Holland missed his mark and was sitting on the bed when Tony Stark is talking to him. He's like, whichever, this is my seat, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, who else could do that? That's totally RDJ.
I would have been so devastated had his, for lack of a better word, demons had gotten him 20 years ago. I mean, truly, I mean, seeing him and his, from, you know, Less Than Zero, you know, Weird Science and all these crazy books he had, and then he did Chaplin, which if you've not seen Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr., it's phenomenal.
Amazing
to watch him. It truly is. I may not like Chaplin himself much after that, but the way he played him was just brilliant. And then, of course, we see his downfall in real life, meaning Robert Downey Jr.'s. And then he, you know, turns around. And I know a lot of that had to do with the woman he met and now is married to. And it's very interesting to see him happy. I like that he is. I like that for him.
I like that he is too. Right. And I also like that he's willing to help others as well who are going through the same problems that he did. And that's wonderful to see because in this day and age, we need a little bit of kindness as well. So here's someone who's made a lot of money and who is greatly talented. And he's also, you know, willing to help others, which is lovely. So,
he was in a movie called Johnny Be Good, which, he was in a movie called Johnny Be Good, and we'll end it here, with Anthony Michael Hall and Uma Thurman, I believe. It was out when I was in college. And it wasn't a great movie, but it was what it was. And they filmed it, part of it, in New Braunfels, Texas, which is not too far from me. And, one of the... Yeah, and they were there, you know, you stand around a lot when you're waiting to film your scene, and people had come out to see them film it, and a couple of guys, was a friend of mine, they were out there talking, and, you know, they were signing autographs, and they said that Robert Downey Jr. talked to everybody and signed autographs and everything. Well, about 3 weeks later, the friend was in San Francisco and was walking down the street, and Robert Downey Jr. walks by. And he almost, you know, the friend is like, okay, well, should I say something? He's like, that's crazy because, you know, it's been 3 weeks. He's met like 9,000 people since then. He's not going to remember me.
Right.
And he feels a tap on his shoulder. And he turns around and it's Robert Downey Jr. going, okay, hold on. Your name is, aren't you? You know, and it was like, and didn't he talk? And, well, I mean, he remembered everything.
That's fantastic.
The quality person he is that I've read, you know, it's endearing. It's endearing and hopeful, like you're saying. So for sure.
Lovely. That is really nice.
Maybe I should start a women talking Marvel podcast because we could do this for a very long time.
I think so because I am such a Marvel fan. I would be down for that in a heartbeat. So yes. I would definitely love to do that.
Yeah, we could talk about story structure and characterization and foreshadowing and all those things they make us pay attention to in English class. So
That's right. Yes, because I was listening to an author speak about Thor and how the original Thor was a rom-com. And they mentioned a book and said that they got it from this book. And I'm like, nope, Thor came out earlier. I didn't say it, but I'm thinking that going, Thor came out so many years earlier. It was actually not. But yes, we could definitely talk about it because there are so many impromptu moments, too, that make some of these movies what they are. And just bringing up Thor, because we'll end it on the Thor note, when he's in the first movie and he's being so serious, and it's before Ragnarok where Thor got a really good sense of humor, you've got Thor, and he goes to hang up his hammer on the coat rack at Jane's house.
Yes.
And that was all Chris Hemsworth, and it was like, oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that they had fun with their characters. So, yes, I would definitely be down for that.
In Endgame, when, he's Fat Thor. Sorry if anyone hasn't seen it, but it's been out like 2-3 years. So, but he's Fat Thor, and they're talking about Noob Master on, playing on the gamers. Apparently, the rumor is that's the Apple guy from, let's see, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like, they're in the Apple store and they're trying to get wherever the location is of, and the guy keeps asking if they need help, and they're like, no, we don't need your help. So apparently that's Aaron from the Apple Store's News Master that's harassing. I don't know.
Love it.
The whole universe rotates back to itself. So I love that. So
I love it. And I also love that Ryan Reynolds, Free Guy. Really, seriously. I really loved, though, that Deadpool did the Free Guy promotion with Korg. And that was really funny. Yes. Like, I couldn't get a real Avenger. And then you see Free Guy, and you notice that there are actually Avengers that have some cameos in there. And one of my favorites, Hugh Jackman. And then my kids loved it because they were like, oh my gosh, that's an actual YouTuber. And then you've got one scene where you've got the Avengers theme and the Star Wars theme. And then you've got, this dates me so much, Greatest American Hero, which was a TV show from the 80s, the whole Believe It or Not song. And I'm like singing to it. My kids are like, you know this song? I'm like, yes, I know this song. It may be how many years since I've heard it last, but I know every single word of that song. Yes. So, there are a lot of movies
Robert
we can
Culp
talk about.
Connie Selica. Yep. Connie
Oh,
Selica,
my gosh.
Robert Culp.
It's amazing.
And, was it William? I just had Cat. Yeah.
Yes.
Cat, yeah. So,
yes.
And it was fun to see, like, Shazam. Shazam was kind of in that same vein, and they did such a brilliant job with Shazam. So that was a fun movie, too.
Yes, it really is. And it's interesting to hear that apparently it was supposed to be a movie with Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, and they were supposed to share the screen, because I didn't get that from Shazam. So they did a really good job of covering that up, because they had to have rewritten that. So that's very interesting. But yes, our love of movies will keep us in podcasts forever.
Forever. Okay.
That's it.
So for everybody who's been listening, I've been talking to Tracy Goodwin, author, mom, HOA maven, and Marvel brilliant. So, but she also has a book out now called With Neighbors Like This, and you can find it online. It is also, you can check out her Amazon webpage, Book Club. She's on Twitter, she's Instagram, Facebook group, and you're going to have a book signing coming up here soon, yeah?
Yes, we are going to be in, it's been a few weeks, but starting with the 2nd was my first one. But I am signing in San Antonio with Terry Wilson and Katie Golding on the 25th at Nowhere Bookstore in San Antonio, and that's going to be between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. So that'll be really exciting.
Okay. Well, now I know what I'm doing that day.
There you go. There you go. And if you want to have drinks afterwards or apps or whatever, because I will be staying the night. So,
yay.
So, yeah, I'm not driving back to Houston. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, no, not that late. I-10 is boring at that time, and it's just mindless. So, yeah. No, don't drive that.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. Well, we will talk to you soon. And everyone, go get Tracy's new book and learn about Marvel and see if we actually do something with these Marvel ideas with us. So
that's right.
Stay tuned. You never know.
Because if you know anything about my writing, there's always something about Marvel, about the Avengers.
Always.
There really is. All my contemporaries do have references. So definitely. And especially with Neighbors Like This.
Then, yeah? Yes.
That's right. That's right.
I love it.
Yes. One of my favorite songs, Holding Out for a Hero. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Bonnie Tyler.
Oh, I love that one.
But thank you for listening, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. This has been Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio. And on
this show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.